This article was in NBC News this morning. It just appears that all of the Arabs and the Muslims and the Middle East is just going crazy. And in Revelation we see a lot of this. Can this be the red horse?
We're going to be in chapter 6 and verse 3 as we get started here. We're talking about the first 4 horses. We covered one last week and it was the white horse. Now we're going to look at the 3 other horses. There's a red one, a black, and a pale horse. And they're all connected with the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th seals being opened. And there's 7 seals. So let's look at Revelation. Verse 3, it says, "When the Lamb opened the 2nd seal, I heard the 2nd living creature say, 'Come.'" So here we have the living creature again. "Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make men slay each other. To him was given a large sword." Now I'm just saying that, would God do such a thing? We hear this all the time. Oh, why are these earthquakes happening and thousands of people dying? And God, why does God do things like, and they get mad at God because things are going on like this. You know, this is no big thing for God, because this life on earth is nothing. We put so much emphasis on it. It's so important to us. But God would say, if you only knew how insignificant this life is that you're living, you wouldn't worry about it for a minute, you know. And so, but we look at things just basically and say, why are these things happening? And then we get mad at God. What we have to do is guard our heart. Don't get mad at God. Say, if it's God's will, it's God's will. Whatever God's will is. So God, show me what am I to do in light of this. Well, go take care of whoever's left. You might go out and do that, you know. Try to dig them out underneath an earthquake building that fell down or something like that. Try to nurse them back to life. Everything that we're doing. We're supposed to go on in life this way. But don't get mad because thousands of people died. Because he has a purpose for that. Okay. Would God give someone a sword to slay a peaceful world with it? You know, so we say, oh, we finally have peace. Like I've told you before, people have come to me and wanted me to, get together and let's pray for peace. And Jesus said he's not coming for peace. Do you want me to pray against the Bible? You know, that's not it. In fact, in Revelation, he says he's going to take peace away. The only peace in this world is going to be when he takes over. And then there will be peace that man cannot understand. The world cannot understand it. Let's check quickly the rest of the Bible here. As I said, the Pentateuch to Apocalypse, so it can be in the New Testament, further in the Old Testament. So Matthew, as you see in the program there, I've got the scriptures laid out about where the topics are going to be. And so this will be the second topic, would God do such a thing? And we're going to look at Matthew chapter 10, verse 34. So, "Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." See, now that's in Matthew. John in Revelation wrote the same thing. It's taking peace out of the earth. And what did it say up there? To him was given a large sword. He brought a sword. Okay. And the topic number 3, we're going all the way back to Daniel now. If you had been here when I first started this teaching, I started with Daniel. And there was a reason for it. It's because it's so connected. Daniel's right in the middle of the Bible, right in the middle of the Pentateuch to Apocalypse. But Daniel is having interpretations of dreams that fit into this whole thing. So we're going to look at Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. In the Old Testament, our friend Daniel was in the middle of an interpretation when he stumbled on to the same period of time that was going to happen in the future that we're talking about now. He says, after that, in my vision at night I looked, and there before me was a fourth beast, terrifying and frightening, very powerful. It had large iron teeth. It crushed and devoured its victims and trampled underfoot whatever was left. It was different from all the former beasts, and it had 10 horns. When I was thinking about the horns, there before me was another horn, a little one, which came up among them, among these 10 horns, and 3 of the first horns were uprooted before it. This horn had eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth that spoke boastfully. So what we saw here, now see, when we're studying now, you've got to be looking at this symbolism because it all has a part of it. That Daniel was seeing 10 horns, and then another little one was coming up in the 10 horns. Now Daniel 7, verse 23 now, he gave me this explanation. The fourth beast is the fourth kingdom that will appear on earth. It will be different from all the other kingdoms and will devour the whole earth, trampling him down and crushing it. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this kingdom. Now, I bored everybody with my picture. This is what Daniel was interpreting. King Nebuchadnezzar had a dream of this guy. Now we're talking about the fourth kingdom here, Rome. So it's Rome. This fourth one that he's talking about, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. The 10 horns are 10 kings who will come from this kingdom. Those are the 10 kingdoms that are going to come from the other kingdom. Okay, now I want to tell you this because, let's see, after them another king will rise different from the earlier ones, and he will subdue 3 of these kings. And so this is part of the rest of the teaching. Those 10 toes, in God's eyes, are still considered part of the Roman Empire. Now, I just keep that in mind, and I'll explain what I mean by that. The white horse last time was the conqueror coming out. The red horse this time is the mighty destruction coming to the world, through which the 10 nations, kingdoms, horns, or toes, however you want to look at it, will come out of it. And we see that from out of that, the 10 kingdoms, comes one small kingdom or a horn, which we now recognize as Antichrist. So out of those 10 toes, or 10 kingdoms, or 10 horns that we're seeing here, will come one little one, and that's going to be the one that what you hear about all the time, but is the Antichrist. And point 6, so many people come to me and say, where is the United States going to be in all of this? And you probably have heard that before. You probably wondered about this before. Where will the United States be? If there's only 10 nations that we're hearing in Revelation, then where would they be? How many nations, kingdoms, or rulers are there in the world? There's a lot more than 10, right? There are a lot more than 10. The statue, what we see is got 10 there, and it's the revised Roman Empire. Is what that is. That's how God looks at it, as a revised Roman Empire. Not meaning at all that Rome is going to attack all these countries and turn them over to them that once belonged to her, but they're only in God's eyes as the revised Roman Empire. The point I'm trying to make here is the interpretation of Daniel was that the countries that once were Roman are still Roman in God's eyes. Do you see the point that I'm trying to make? These will be the 10 kingdoms or nations around the Mediterranean Sea. Because back in those days, they were all belonged to Rome. That's during the time that Paul wrote the book of Romans and all that. Look at the nuclear potential this area down here is beginning to get. If God would decide to bring a monster down on all those nations around the Mediterranean Sea, conquer them and allow 10 to survive to be kingdoms, it wouldn't be very hard to do. India and Pakistan, they both are nuclear powers. Israel is a nuclear power. There's a lot of them down there now, probably more than we realize. All those nations are getting the same power that we have. So if there's a big monster came down in that whole area, and then there are 10 nations that survive that, and then out of those 10 nations, a little one arises and and subdues 3 of them, so there's only 7 left, and the rest of the 7 submit to Antichrist or to this little horn that came up. This is what we can look at. This is what Revelation that we're talking about right now is saying. That there will be 10, 3 of them will be destroyed, and that's where Antichrist destroys them, and then the other 7 submit, and now there are 10 or 7, but Antichrist is in charge at this point. So the monster we're looking about, the warfare, the conqueror is the white horse, and it's not Jesus, as we looked at last time. He's on a white horse, but he's a conqueror, but he's not Jesus. I think there's going to be a real big war, that we won't be able to even get involved with. Just leave us alone. Let us work out our own thing. We can do it, Well, eventually they're all going to say that. In the United States, just stay over there. Leave us alone. We'll make this thing work. Well, they won't make it work. There's going to be a big war, and then there will be these things happening. God has all things planned, and as far as he is concerned, they are finished. Things are finished in God's eyes. So why should Christians be concerned about this? We shouldn't be, except that we clean up the mess and we do whatever God tells us to do, right? We're writing it out. We're getting ready for when Jesus returns and gets us out of this place. So the final nails put into the coffin of Satan are the ones they put into the hands and feet of Jesus. It was finished on the cross. Jesus said that. He said, "It is finished." He could see right then, immediately. It's over with. It's just a matter of playing it out now. He did it on the cross. So let's pray.